I'm David Castillo, and I am here with Neil Hooper. We love making time to play using board games with our families and friends. And today we are tackling the question of how important is the theme to a solid game experience?
David, good to have you back. It has been a wild past couple of weeks. How are you doing, man?
Oh man, I'm good. Yeah, it has been a wild couple of weeks. But I appreciate you sticking it out with me and not letting us either of us kind of get discouraged with how we had some curveballs thrown our way with keeping this thing consistent.
Man, I'll tell you what, the technical difficulties, that is enough to wear down even the most valiant soul. But I'll tell you what, we are sticking with it. The dang audio didn't download, and then I couldn't get the video to upload. There's a lot of things that went wrong, but here we are. We're sticking it out, and now we're just sitting on a few episodes. We're going to get those out, get back on the schedule. But anyway, it's good to be here. There's been a lot going on, even outside of the podcasting world. We had ProtoCon up in northern Utah, and I was able to attend that. It's a board game prototyping and playtesting event, and it was so fun. And it was really fun because I actually got to host Eric Olson, who is the designer of the hit Flip 7, the greatest card game of all time, allegedly. Some people agree with that. It is a great game. I do love Flip 7, but and he's got some other games with his game company, Messy Table, and it was just awesome. He came, he did a 2-hour workshop and just really dove into the nuts and bolts of game design and the industry. And it was just kind of an open format. So we were just asking questions, but it was kind of cool. I reached out to him like a month ago, just like a couple of weeks before the event, and said, "Hey, I know this is a long shot, but we've got this event." And he had mentioned previously getting together with our board game design group. And to my surprise, he was very excited to come down. And so he came, and it was so cool to network with him and learn the ins and outs of games. And I got to play test some of his unreleased stuff. That is really fun.
There we go.
So yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. And I got to play test some of the games that we've been working on, Dogpile and Pocket Change. And this is some fun news. A publisher that you and I know very well requested a prototype copy of Dogpile. And so actually two. So that's kind of exciting news. But yeah, it was fun. Getting everyone's reactions, got some really good feedback on the games, made some tweaks, and they were well received. So that was a ton of fun.
No way, man. Okay, I'm gonna have to ask you after we record who wants to see it, because I understand these things. You maybe don't say anything until pen has met the paper, but that's awesome.
Yeah,
Glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's cool. And but yeah, man, it was great. Had a ton of fun. I understand you on the industry side of things. You had the Las Vegas show. What's it called?
It's called the Las Vegas Winter Market.
That's right. That's the one. How was that, man?
It was great. Yeah. So, I mean, it is an industry show, but not for gaming. It is primarily for like the attendees are primarily made up of buyers for gift shops or museum shops, or like places that sell home decor. Like it goes parallel to the toy industry a little bit, but it is so foreign at the same time. But yeah, so I work with Enchanted Moments, and we get contracted by toy and game puzzle, anyway, those companies, to handle their sales for them. And we have a beautiful new showroom there in the World Market Center in Las Vegas. And I mean, yeah, it completely makes sense as to why we're there, because a lot of these gift shops, bookstores, museum stores, and all that, they love having like a toy section in their stores. And so it's a great way. It was awesome just for meeting new customers, or customers that I've been trying to meet as a salesperson. I could finally get that first interaction with them. And so it was good. Had a great time.
I got to interject here because I remember you saying a while ago that I was like, yeah, what kind of stores do you reach out to? And you mentioned Ace Hardware has a surprisingly large toy and game selection. And I almost didn't believe you. But then we went to our Ace Hardware here in Southern Utah. I was blown away. It's like a whole corner of the store. It's a hardware store. And then
Right.
tons of games, like a whole shelf of games. And I was like, David was right. It's so funny. So you just never know who you need to reach out to about toys and game sales. I thought that was funny though.
Yeah, and I mean, we could dive into this more in depth another time, but it does sadden me that I was raised in a purebred toy store, so not to sound like Slytherin or anything like that, but yeah, I mean, the number of like purebred toy stores is diminishing. So I mean, we see game stores, gift stores, now hardware stores, kind of expanding into toys to fill that niche in anyway in markets where they just don't have like a true dedicated toy store, or the toy stores in the area just aren't reaching enough people. And so yeah, I mean, so that was definitely, I mean, probably the hardest part of getting started in this role, because I was looking for stores that look like mine, but most of who I sell to are stores that don't look like mine.
Oh, all the mudblood stores.
Right. But I mean, that brings up something that I would love to dive into another time, but mudblood, it's terrible. um, but yeah, I mean, it's just like, how can games fit into more retail channels? Because I mean, a lot of toy stores are afraid of games. Just I don't know. I think games, if you're not a gaming person, it's scary. It's scary as a retailer to add that, because you're worried that if you don't know how to play it, or yeah, just can you manage to sell it, that sort of thing. And so
Yeah, the
that's kind of
education
been
piece
my
is huge, right? So
yeah,
that
that's
isn't
been my personal mission, is really to try to change that. And so yeah, I mean, I'll keep you all updated as things go. I've got some things in the works on that end.
that's awesome, man. Well, yeah, definitely been up to a lot of stuff. And on that note, what were we making time to play the last couple of weeks? I've got a few. Another amazing human that I got to meet at Protocon is Ammon Anderson, who you know very well, and I had been kind of lurking in the shadows to meet, and I finally found my chance. But he was there and just being awesome, mentoring the youth designers. Of course, I was like, he's just a stellar human. But he's the designer of Gnome Hollow, Twinkle Twinkle, his own game Taco, and most recently, he and his wife co-designed a game called Cats versus Cucumbers. And I got a signed copy now. I bought it from him at Protocon, and I've played that 3 times now. And it is just a fun little game. I really enjoy it. It's kind of a fun, silly theme. If you haven't looked up Cats versus Cucumbers on YouTube, definitely invest the time to go down that rabbit hole. It's very entertaining. Apparently, cats, I don't know what it is instinctually, but when they see a cucumber, they just like freak out. So there's like people sliding them underneath. Have you guys done that to your cats yet? I got to ask.
Yeah, we've tried, and we did not get the reaction that we would have hoped from them.
They're too
So, must not be
domesticated.
all cats.
That's funny. Oh, man. But anyway, so it's just a fun game. You're rolling dice. So think King of Tokyo. You got 6 dice. You're trying to get 3 of the same to get that benefit. You get, cats moving up the boxes, which gets you more points. You can swipe them down. But if you get 3 cucumbers, then you bust and you don't get anything. But it's just a really fun theme. I really enjoyed it. So that was cats versus cucumbers. Pinatas is another one that we've been playing. That's an all-play one that we've had for a while, but we just played it again recently. So it's a Reiner Knizia trick-taking game. And it's just, I love me a good Reiner Knizia tension-building game. It's a super fun theme, but what you're doing is you're trying, when you go out, there's a certain number of tricks to go out, and when you go out, you get the number of tricks that everybody else has in front of them. So you're waiting till there's more tricks that have been played to go out. But if you're the last person to go out, you only get the tricks that are in front of you. And it's usually a low number of like three tricks is how you go out. So anyway, it's a really fun, entertaining game. Loved pinatas. And then the last one we played was House Mouse. It's a local designer. It's a new company, publisher called Soda Light Games, and House Mouse is their first one. So it's pretty simple little family game. I say simple. It's really good. It's really entertaining. Really cute artwork. It did feel a little complex for some of the younger kids in our family, but with some coaching, it was a fun theme. You're scurrying around the house, going from corner to corner to get collect things. So it's kind of set collection. There's a little bit of take that in there where you can steal stuff from each other. So yeah, just a cool little game. So I'll probably have a full review for that one here in a little bit. But those are some of the things we've been playing. How about you, David?
Yeah, man. Didn't get in as many plays as I would have liked, but largely due to being at that show for nearly a week and all of that.
Yeah.
So, hey, I mean, it was a fun way to be feeding the family. We're working towards feeding the family through this new career. But yeah, got in a round of bomb busters, and yeah, you know what?
Mm.
I wish I revisited that one more. It is fun, and I really want to find like just that group of people that will. I mean, we're just going to power through and try to make it all the way to the end. But yeah, if you're not familiar with Bomb Busters, it won the Spiel des Jahres, if I'm pronouncing that right, this last year. And yeah, it's a cooperative game in which up to 5 players, you're trying to work together to defuse a bomb. And I mean, you do so by just trying to properly identify like the numbers, or in essence, the wires that everyone has in front of them, but they can only see their own wires. And you have limited communication. And so yeah, just trying to make sure you're giving quality hints through that limited communication, and anyway, not cut the red wire by mistake. So thematically really fun because it is I don't know, like cutesy art on it, and yeah, really fun cooperative game. And I mean, I'm just a sucker for cooperative games with limited communication because it
Yes,
kind
you
of
are.
prevents the whole quarterbacking thing.
Yeah. I'm
But
super
yeah,
jealous. I've been wanting to play that one, by the way. So I will definitely volunteers tribute the next time we are in the same room to play that one.
oh, let's do it, man. Do you have a copy yet?
No, I don't.
Okay, I have an extra. I got you next time
Heck
you're in the area.
yeah! You
So
heard it here live. Bomb Busters, it's mine. You're awesome, man. Thank you.
yeah, then two-player games that I have been playing or that I played. So brought Toy Battle back out.
Mm,
And yeah, that one like I learned a little while ago, but man, it's good. I just I like it, and it is once again David coming from toy industry. Every toy store needs to have that game because it just I don't know. It's so on theme, which we're going to touch on where theme comes into play. It very loosely reminds me of Stratego, just the whole like using higher numbers sort of thing. But yeah, you're just trying to capture the other person's HQ or get the required number of stars to win. Very easy to learn, but then each troop has a special ability. And yeah, I mean, it's so short. I just published a video on it, by the way, on my socials. And so
mm.
because the rounds are so short and it's fun, just you always hear people say, okay, rematch after.
Yes. We have experienced the Toy Battle rematch syndrome very much in our house. It's a great
That's
game.
the new syndrome. Um, and then King of Tokyo Duel. So I mean, what drove me to play these two-player games is for a certain toy and game award. I'm involved in the process, and so um, and we on the game side we don't want to have multiple two-player games, and I really like tag team, so I pulled Toy Battle out again, which has been nominated, and King of Tokyo Duel. Anyway, to just try to see which of the three would get my vote, and they're all good. But yeah, King of Tokyo Duel, it plays it's very familiar to those who've played King of Tokyo, kind of dice rolling. It led to a good experience actually. If we have time, I'm happy to touch on it later. But just because my kids had learned a game that is all luck, I think called War, like that people play with face cards and stuff like
Oh,
that. But
yep.
there's no skill, no decision making in the game. It's just 100% luck. And so playing King of Tokyo after and saying like, look, the reason I just don't care for that game is because I love games that exercise your guys' brain. It doesn't mean that you have full control. Like there's going to be luck, but like we're dice rolling, but we still have the choice. Like what are we going to focus on trying to get? And yeah, how are we going to try to increase our odds? So yeah, good game, good two-player execution on it. But yeah.
So many good games. Fun fact: they are releasing a new version of Tokyo King of Tokyo Duel. So it'll have 6 new monsters and kind of a fun new mechanic where the city's kind of floating in the Bay of Tokyo. I don't know what that
Oh,
means,
okay.
but it sounds really fun. That's
Interesting.
actually one of mine and Aubrey's favorite two-player games is King of Tokyo Duel. So we like that one.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yep. Very cool. Well, let's jump into the topic at hand, which I'm really excited to chat about. Hopefully, we will try to stay on topic. But this is one that I think we're both pretty passionate about. So, the question is, how important is theme to a solid game experience? And the reason I'm excited to talk about this is I think there's kind of two personality types in my opinion. I think there's the left and the right side of your brain. There's, the emotional and the logical side of your brain. I think typically people that are more emotional or artistic or whatever um, will probably lean toward appreciating or wanting theme to play a bigger role in their gaming experience. But I actually care a lot about the theme of a game. And it's not that I don't like games that if they don't have a theme. I just did a preachified review of Quirkle a few weeks ago on our Good Apple Games channel. So Quirkle is like literally zero theme. It's totally abstract and it's super fun. But I think a great theme can really it just like puts a fun little bow on the package of your gaming experience. And I like to be immersed, and so I think of games that I love, and most of the time there's a strong thematic element to the game. But if you just take a classic game like Everdell, right? Super fun,
Yes.
right? But you take out the cutesy art and all the animals and stuff, and you just strip it down to you're building the best city, right? And the magic is not there for me, when you do that. So anyway, I really care about themes in games, and again, it's not that I don't appreciate me a good thinky abstract game, but I just think if there's thematic potential there, why wouldn't you embrace that, and add that as part of the game? So, what are your thoughts, though? What's your hot take?
Yeah. So, I mean, I realize that the question specifically is about like how the theme contributes to the game experience. And I think immersion is a big part of it. I'm trying to think of the times where I have consulted with like indie game designers, and like there has been like it, a small handful of times where I've said, you know what, I think you just need to strip the theme of this one. And I think that usually when I make that recommendation, I think it just has to do with like who the potential target audience is. Because I mean, I preach about this all the time, just making all parts of the game, like this channel you're selling it through, the price point, the component quality, and the artwork, like just make sure that they all align with who is going to like the game and who your target audience is. And so, yeah, I mean, when it comes to specifically the game experience, yeah, I think it's just that, just continuing to strengthen the experience or immerse the person that it's for. Yeah, I mean, you bring up great examples of games where, they don't have much of a theme. Even Flip 7. I mean, does Flip 7 have a theme aside from shiny?
It's funny. I was just talking to Eric Olson about this at Protocon because it really doesn't have much of a theme. However, there is kind of that classic Vegas casino graphic design there.
Sure.
And again, it could just be numbers, right? But that is a fun feel, and it's kind of like slapjack, or you're trying not to bust or whatever, or blackjack rather. But but that's cool that they did that, right? And it's very subtle, but I think it's effective and ties into the game.
You're right on the theme element of it. And sure, there's publishers who have made money by taking games that are played with face cards, and people, I guess people do want some sort of uniqueness to it. And I mean that part's apparent.
Well, yeah,
But
and you
yeah.
think of it. I like to think of board games as art as well, to a degree, and when there's that strong theme there, and you're bringing in beautiful art, I think it really elevates the experience for a lot of reasons. But I think of there's kind of for me like a hierarchy when I think of a great game. And again, not everyone agrees with this, but if you have you've got great gameplay, right, or mechanics, right, for the game. So it's like how it functions. Is it enjoyable? Does it hit? Does it flow? Is there the right mix of luck and skill? But then you have a great theme. So if you have a great mechanical game without a theme, it can still work. But when that theme is really solid, um, it makes the whole package much more fun and memorable and enjoyable. But then there's a third element, right? And this is where it's really fun is when the theme and the mechanics, there's like this cohesion between the two, right? And so
Yes, yes,
and,
yes.
and that's where I'm just like, man, I think if more game designers really leveraged that, like even in subtle ways. So I was just talking about cats versus cucumbers, right? You could strip away the theme entirely from that game, and guess what? It's not nearly as memorable, right? Um, but the fact that the three things you're trying not to get are, oh, this is interesting. Check this out. Tally Up, which is a game by Eric Olson that just came out. It's a Walmart exclusive. I think we talked about that on a previous episode. It's a super fun game. It's a press your luck dice game, right? There is no theme at all. It's totally abstract.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, when you hold those two side by side, granted, the mechanics are a little different, but having something, the cats versus cucumbers, you're trying not to get three cucumbers or you bust. In Tally Up, you're trying not to get 3 stars or you bust. It's the same. It's actually the same kind of pressure luck element. There's a lot of other differences, but I would always prefer the cats versus cucumbers theme and having these cute little cat meeples that I'm moving up boxes. So, but again, I think just tying the theme into mechanics is where it really starts to sing for me.
One game I want to bring up though is like where I think the game would also be forgettable without the theme. Exploding Kittens, something that we've all heard about.
Oh, 100%.
Take the cats, like the what's it called, the like the barfing cat. There's a different name, but just taking all that silliness out of it, I just don't know that it. I don't know that it would lead to people like kind of getting beyond the okay, I had a fun time, but I'm keeping it to myself and into the I want to share this with others stage. And I know that's businessy to think that way, but
No, but
um
100%. And like that was like went gangbusters on Kickstarter, and it was almost 100%. It happens to be a fun game. I haven't played it a ton, but I remember having a good time at least. But without that theme, I totally agree with you that it just wouldn't be what it was. And I think an example of a game that ties the theme into the mechanics um, is Silos from Bitewing Games. So it's a Reiner Knizia
mm,
that they actually reskinned. So it's an old Reiner Knizia game that was like is kind of imperial based, and the theme was not landing with people even as an older game. And so they brought it back. They rethemed it as a UFO invasion where you are the aliens and you're trying to get the cows and abduct people. And it's kind of an area control game, but in one of the areas, it's a university. And when the UFO goes there and the area busts, whoever has the majority gets to send their little alien who's disguised as a human. And then you actually get to put a little graduation cap on top of the alien. And now that alien is worth 2 when you're doing the area control for anywhere on the board. And it's just
right.
so it's silly, right? But it's memorable and it's fun and it engages you. So anyway, I thought that was a fun example of that.
Dude, yeah. I mean, whenever you can get that immersion from, yeah, just those two things connecting, man, it just even makes like sharing the game, just experiencing it, just more fun. Like one that I did think of is Chronologic by Hachette Games. Or is it under? I mean, I know on the business side it's through Hachette Games. I can't remember what the publisher's name is officially, but that's like the game that Clue should have been, in my opinion. I love that game. And now they've got a new one. I mean, the first one was Chronologic Paris 1920. and now they have oh man, it's not the Incas, but like Aztecs or something like that.
Hmm.
But just, I mean, thematically, really well done. I don't know that that game could be executed without a theme, but I mean, it does feel like that we are detectives trying to solve the crimes. I also think of Sky Team from Scorpion Mask Games, and
Hmm.
the only thing that could be off, arguably, is the whole like that the pilot and co-pilot don't really communicate on landing the plane. So, like
Yeah.
that's but I give it grace because everything else about it is so spot on. Gosh, the dash, is that what you call it on an airplane? But just
Yeah, the
like
heads
the
up
cockpit,
display,
yeah,
or
yeah, just all of it, just where you've got just the where you're tracking like your speed, the brakes, the flaps. It works well. It just works so well
yes,
thematically, and so
great
I mean,
examples.
I'm glad that our pilots aren't rolling dice to try to get the plane to land, but man, it's beautiful. That is a work of art, is Sky Team.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Um, yeah, and those are great examples, right? Where the mechanics and the theme kind of just blend together in this beautiful gaming experience. And yeah, I it's again, you take your favorite board games and you strip out the theme, and I think you're missing a lot of the charm um, to kind of bring it together. But I know some people are super thinky, more logical people, and the theme's just not as important, and that's okay too, right? But that's why it's called an opinion, I guess. At the end of the day.
Yeah. Speaking of Ammon, who you just brought up, I, I would love to bring him on the show because like his story for Gnome Hollow, how it was initially like a painting that he
Mhm.
did, and then like the theme came first on that one, and then yeah, then he saw I think there was a game here, and turned it into a game. I just love hearing that story. I think it'd be cool to have him share.
Oh, we should
Um,
totally have Ammon on. And now that we
yeah.
we both know him really well.
The big part that we both have touched on is just making those things align in the game, because otherwise I guess that's really what it comes down to. Like when they don't align, it takes like the immersion's gone. When I played Hi-Fi, so for the that was a game where there was a very distracting, for me, disconnect between the theme and the game mechanics. The theme and the game mechanics were like misaligned, but also just the theme was wrongly executed as well. And
Mm.
so sorry to put that one on blast. Like it, I just think of the sales perspective. So I'm an audiophile. For those who don't know me, I've worked in recording studios as a sound engineer and that sort of thing. So I love good audio. Um, and so I was drawn in by the turntable like cover. And when I saw that, I'm like, or not turntable, I guess it's a record that's on the cover. And then next to it, I saw a turntable. I'm like, oh my gosh, how is a turntable involved in this game? So, but when I see as an audiophile now, when I see a record and a turntable, I'm thinking of the listening experience because that's what those are associated with. But once you get into the game, it's about producing like a record or recording a song, which I'm like, okay. I mean, I did like that at the beginning of the turn you turn the turntable and you can only turn it like so many spaces to try to pick your action that you're going to do, if I'm remembering right. But yeah, once again, it's about recording or producing a song, which records have no part in. I mean, that's going to be tape if you're old school, or you're not going to record onto a record. A record's for the listening experience after. um and then within the like to score, you're trying to part of it is getting different instruments on the same track, and that does not happen in a recording experience. Instruments have their own track. And so like I don't know if anyone else would pick up on that and kind of become unimmersed from that, but that oh, sorry, like that just did not make sense. It almost upset me. So,
Well, that's a good example of where the theme and the mechanics start to deviate, right? And it's, I guess, the same as the opposite's true, right? Where that cohesion's really fun and immersive. When it kind of breaks from that, it's like, wait a minute, oh man, yeah. I think
yeah.
I think overall, some yeah, just key takeaways. I think the theme can be very important. I will say theme can't make up for a poor mechanic choice in a game. So like there are games that are really beautiful and thematic that way, but don't play well. And so it's not that a theme is more important than the mechanics, but I think the expectation that modern tabletop gamers have now is that there's going to be some kind of beauty or theming to it that will enhance the gameplay that way. But anyway, that's my hot take.
Yeah. So, question for you: would you prefer to play a game that has solid mechanics but has no theme, or very minimal theme, or a game with the same mechanics, solid mechanics, but a disconnected theme?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Honestly, I'd probably pick the disconnected theme.
Really? Okay.
And
That's
I
actually
guess
surprisingly telling. Very surprisingly telling.
well, and I guess the one caveat would be when we say disconnected theme, it's like it's kind of out of left field. Like you don't see how it ties in mechanically, but now there's some art, there's like some characters. Is that the question?
Yeah, yeah, and I guess I could have thought about that question a little bit more to have an answer for that, but because I mean, what you're describing almost kind of reminds me of Splendor, where I honestly don't care for the theme of Splendor, but I think it's a great gateway game, 100%. I
Right,
love playing that game, but I mean, that's one that kind of broke the rules, where it succeeded despite having kind of weak theming.
right.
But
I think that's a good example too of amazing gameplay. And there was the theming. There's kind of whatever. You're like, are we royals trying to get money? Like, what's going on? But if you take that out and it's just blank, symbols, it really diminishes it. For me, it does. It would still be a fun
really,
game, but I also like the weighted chips. Those are really fun.
okay, man, okay, I'm glad you answered, because yeah, I mean, it seemed like we were in line up until this point, because I think I would prefer the solid mechanics with no theme over one where like the theme is distractingly like unimmersive, I guess, or
Mm.
like misaligned. But
No,
yeah,
and that's great. And so like the game you described, it's funny to me. I don't know that would have bothered me as much. It'd probably just be like, huh, okay. But then it's kind of, yeah, there's still the fun layer of art and theming on top of that. So yeah, I am, and I warned everybody at the beginning of the segment. I was like, theming is probably more important to me than it should be, but I really do
all right, all
appreciate
right.
a beautiful game with the great theme. So
No, totally. But yeah, I mean, I guess so. I don't know anything about the designer or the publisher of Hi-Fi. But now I compare that to Rock Hard 1977. Um,
mm,
and where I'm inclined to make some assumptions now is like, okay, Rock Hard 1977 was designed by the bassist or drummer, I can't remember, but somebody from the Runaways, and it's about like kind of breaking out of the rat race and becoming a rock star, right? And kind of what that, and it feels very spot on. The theme is spot on with the mechanics there. Just, when is it worth ditching work to try to get a recording session in to then hopefully get a record deal, sort of thing. Beautifully done thematically.
yes.
um so like it validates, like, yeah, okay, this makes sense that it was designed by somebody who's been there, done that. But then when I played Hi-Fi, I'm like, whoa, this person has never been anywhere near a recording studio or like anything audio. And so I don't know, like that. I'm sorry. So sorry to put that on blast. I hope the designer will forgive
No,
me.
so here's an interesting point though. If you take the theming out of that game, let's just assume it's a solid, fun game. Would you have stopped to look at it?
No, no, I would not have.
And again, you could kind of feel duped or whatever because some of the theming was it seemed uninformed or whatever. But that's where I stand by my answer to your question that I would pick a disconnected theme over a really well designed game with no theme, because at that point, how does that game stand out? How is that game different, better, special? Because there's a lot of really strong, well-developed games. But yeah, anyway, I think the theme kind of pushes it over the edge. But
Maybe, but I guess so like I will never play hi-fi again. So I guess how was that one time that I played it, I didn't even buy it or anything. Was that worth it? Like for I guess whoever it's supposed to be worth it for. It felt like an unfortunate use of my time.
yeah, and I guess at the end of the day, it depends on who you're talking to. Because now I'm actually interested to play the game. So next time I'm gonna have a full review of Hi-Fi, and we'll see what I think. No, but and it is funny, right? Because you're catering to different audiences. Some audiences care about theme more than others, and so yeah, I guess there's that whole caveat as well. Like, who are you targeting with your game as you're making it, and how important is theme to that target audience? It's probably hard to kind of gauge that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from my sales experience, it is like I've got plenty of anecdotes for where like the theming is kind of what leads to the sale or kind of opens the door, draws people's eyes. So like Jewel Box is one of the games that I get to sell by Love More Games, and like I was at that Las Vegas winter market helping somebody from a bug zoo, and I'm like, hey, by the way, it's not here in the showroom, but I sell Jewel Box, and they got excited. And and they ordered it. They got the butterfly expansion and everything. And then
Nice.
same thing when I drop in on bookstores, if I see that they carry any games, I bring out Fiction by All Play. And so, because that's another one that I sell. So yeah, I mean, it completely makes sense as a sales tool. And then later, I mean, to back to our core question, which is the game experience side, then really brings that immersion. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely got multiple purposes. Yeah, I've loved hearing your take, man, and I love that we're not completely aligned on it.
That's the world's a beautiful place. There's room for everyone, right? Awesome. Well, I think that concludes today's episode of Make Time for Play. Thank you all for joining, and as always, like, follow, subscribe, squeeze, hug, do whatever else you can to support the channel. We are excited to keep bringing more content like this. And as always, remember in those busy times, those busy moments, to make time for play, because that's what really matters.